We have Bonald and Q calling in next Thursday.
Okay. I'm gonna probably slide somebody in here on, the phone's working there.
It is?
Yeah.
Awesome. I trust you. All right.
Well, coming up on this morning's show,
What?
John Kerry has job advice for all the oil field workers. We'll talk at GameStop and the phenomenon with its stock, all that and more coming up on today's Wade and Carter Show. I forgot what we were going to talk about this morning.
Don't worry about
It happens.
Don't worry about my cough. I'm all
See
right.
you guys later.
Bye, brother.
See you, Bill.
Hey, good morning. Good morning.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning to you, sir.
Almost feels like everything's back where it needs to be.
Almost. It takes us a few minutes. Of course, we're doing everything and making small talk with Bill Posey as we do the transition, but it kind of makes us more of a variety hour. People get to hear a Tejano favorite, and then we come in fresh and ready to go. Everything working. We've double checked. We're all in our places with bright, shiny faces.
Let's do this.
4 minutes after the hour, the Wade and Carter weather brought to you by the great folks at Deerland Feed. No matter what you need at your farm, ranch, or in the town, city, place, they've got it. From
Former coal mine.
bug eradication to fertilizer to seeds to plants to hay, they've got it all. That's
Deerland Feed.
non-genderized hay. Hey, 39 degrees in Victoria, heading to a high today of 63. It's going to be like cloudy, partly cloudy today, maybe mostly cloudy. Still a nice day, 63 degrees, no rain.
I'll take 63.
No rain.
Let's see who's in this morning. Richard King, first one in. Good morning to you, sir. Patrick Strauss is in. Scott Tomko, Scott Snow, Marvin Mickish, Judge Posey, good morning.
Good morning, Judge.
Justin Glass, Bobby Leister, Karen Webb. The Leisterometer holding steady at 691. The Iceman is up and at it. There's Mark Jameson. Good morning to you. Clint
Hello,
Ives.
Mark.
Amanda Smith King.
Commish.
By the way, Argenbrook is in.
By the way, to test the knowledge, to test the knowledge of our listeners, I don't say fans. We have some top fans, but 575-9509. That's the number here at Magic. We've been told that the phone works. Somebody feeling froggy later and wants to jump off there and be the first caller to Wade and Carter at their new locale.
Yeah, be the first caller. We'll give you a Wade and Carter t-shirt. How about that?
Yeah, exactly. So I
Tippett, Jordan Glass, Lisa Poole. I think that's everybody.
Let me ask you one.
Yes.
We didn't. I want you to confirm we have not talked about this prior to the show. We're not talking out of school here. We're just having a private conversation that thousands of people are listening to. You and Cheryl, I observe, happily married, get along well.
Most times.
Yeah. So, okay. In those times when you don't, do you ever?
I don't recall any. Cheryl tells me we always get along.
Do you ever feel the need or like that there's some pressure on you, maybe just from inside, maybe it's innate, maybe it's in your DNA, that you need to really get a hold of this situation, that you need to not so much put your foot down, but just assert, maybe it's even just to say, I'm sorry. Maybe you're the one that needs to say, hey, this is going way too far. I need to fix this problem. Still right there. Let's see what happens. Good morning, Wade and Carter. Hello. Ain't nobody there, right?
I hear nothing.
That is the phone line, isn't it?
That's what it says.
Okay. Hey, we tried. We'll try again tomorrow. We'll see what Ash is doing here. So do you ever have that moment? That you say, okay, look, I've got to put my foot down here. I've got to fix this now. Oh, so you're
I
as
don't know
whooped
what
as
you-
me. I was going to ask
I don't
you
know
how
what
that
you-
goes. How that goes for you?
I don't know.
Okay. You guys know what I'm talking about. You get a little sideways. James Kerr says it was him and he could hear us.
We couldn't hear him.
Is there a button over there? Like,
I'm looking. I don't see any buttons pushed that shouldn't be pushed.
I just wondered. I pride myself in general, unless it goes against, my moral compass, which, by the way, she never does. In general, I do everything I can to agree with TLAT. To the point of sacrificing, like, well, would you do that? Yeah, I would do it, but TLAT wouldn't like it, so I don't do it. So I was just trying to see if you end up in that boat or if I'm just whooped.
You're just whooped.
Okay. I'm just trying to get a feel for what people think. James Kerr says he really wanted that T-shirt.
So it was
James, you
him.
can have that T-shirt.
Yeah, I don't know. That was weird.
Yeah.
Phone line should have worked. Yeah. Well. We're almost there. 95%.
Yeah.
Back to where we need to be.
You talking about my relationship or you talking about the phone?
The phone.
Okay.
Jeremy Pena says he's glad he bought GameStop stock yesterday.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Good morning, Norm Burgess. I don't
up
feel
400% this year alone.
And I don't feel any sympathy for the folks that are losing money in that enterprise or making money in that enterprise. I mean, any more than I feel like the guy that was smart enough way back when to buy Dell or to buy Apple or that guy was just smart and he made $1 gazillion. The guy that bought Walmart way back when, good for him.
Here's the thing with this, and it's being driven. These stock prices are being driven much like the tech stocks of the late 90s, early 2000s before the tech bubble. There is no basis for these stock prices to go crazy other than it's simple supply and demand. All of a sudden, people are buying it. The stock
Any
price
difference
is
in the
going up.
Bitcoin? Is it any different than the Bitcoin?
Probably not.
So,
But if you think about like GameStop, on the verge of bankruptcy, maybe they even filed Chapter 11. I don't know. They're not doing well. Nobody goes and buys a video game anymore. They download them straight to their PS4 or PS5 and to their Xbox, right? Nobody.
Right.
Maybe I don't even know. Do hardcore PC gamers still buy the disc? I don't know. I honestly don't. But
percentage-wise, it's probably downloaded a lot more than
probably
hard driven.
Yeah.
Drive.
I know what you're trying to say.
You know what I would say if I could say it?
Yes. So, for whatever reason, a bunch of folks on Reddit felt that GameStop, I think it's kind of started a little bit of a joke, to be honest. And Elon Musk got on and trolled them. And all of a sudden, they started buying the stock. And this thing shot from like, where was it, like $9 a share or something to
400.
Yeah, I mean, ridiculous.
Elon probably made some money on the way up.
But so now you got the SEC that wants to investigate stock manipulation.
Yeah,
because a bunch of guys on Reddit are talking about it, and that's going to be your evidence. Yeah. But I mean, it does make no sense. The company's in trouble. Their model hasn't changed to bring them with the times because they really can't change with the times. They can't deliver the games the way that EA Sports can deliver the game straight to your console.
Right.
There's still a place people do go buy the gaming consoles, but that's not what they're really in business for.
Right. Good morning, Brad Miner, Pat McDonald. Good morning.
But it's very much like all the tech stocks when all the .coms were popping up and they were soaring to $1,000 a share when they had no assets, they had no returns on investment. All the venture capitalists that went in there weren't getting a lot of money out of anything but the stocks because there was no product to sell.
Right.
They had no tangible assets. And then when everybody figured that out, when tech stocks all failed and we were left with a few. But everybody was trying something. To me, this is no different, except it's a bunch of day traders and amateurs making a bunch of money, and they're not licensed stockbrokers and traders. And then so people, they're mad.
But I listened to a former SEC controller from Massachusetts this morning on the way in, and he was saying that, because for every winner, there's a loser. And he was saying, well, these amateur investors that don't know what they're doing, many of them are losing money, and we need to step in and we need to
protect people from themselves.
And we need to cease halt trading of this stock because it's unprecedented times in the middle of a pandemic, and these folks don't know what they're doing. And I thought, well, isn't that how you learn? I mean, I don't know what I'm doing, so I'm not in there doing that.
James Kerr says, yeah, it's not stock manipulation, it's speculation. Yeah, which is right.
Ron Sicka says, can you flip your microphone support so we can see your face? I can do this, I think. This is not as old school as it looks. This is actually very modern equipment. This cradle's just.
You've got a nice mic cradle.
I do have a nice mic cradle right here. Yeah. Everybody loves
somebody. AMC, the movie theater chain, same thing. That stock's up like 400%. Another company that's doing
poorly. Are they done? Is that over? Is the movie theater business over? It's actually the movie concession business because that's really all it is. But is that over now in the world of, thank you, Ron, where you can buy Netflix and Showtime and you can rent movies that are put out, currently? No,
I think people still
want to go to
the theaters.
I mean, I do. Although
I don't know where that thing's in the shot. That's weird.
It wasn't until dawn that I realized how
dirty theaters
are. Yeah, that's the problem.
Yeah. But yeah, the SEC chimed in. I mean, there was a whole bunch of stuff with this GameStop thing, and it's interesting. I mean, I saw screenshots on the Reddit feed. Some guy showed his opening position with GameStop.
Right. And
I mean, his screenshot of his account, I'm assuming, right?
Uh-huh.
Looked legit. 13 million in the plus.
See, that's when you get that and get out. James Kerr says the theater now sells mixed drinks. How about
some of them do? Yeah. Some of these folks are going to ride this thing all the way to the ground. But I read some capital firm.
Push that thing down to be out of your way. You're close. You're so close. Oh, there you go.
I read some capital firm had to buy $3 billion because they were shorting the stock, which I understand that's a play to make money if the stock loses money, right?
Right.
So how is that any different?
It's not. How about Jeff Fonseca says he bought 5,000 shares of Goldmine Arcades. What's funny is he heard that in a chat room on MySpace.
Yeah, exactly.
He was on MySpace.
Him and Tom.
Yeah.
It's just the two of them. Terry Murray, good morning to you.
Hey, let's start our own. We can do it. I'll buy 5,000 shares if you do. Hi, Terry Murray.
The only 10,000 shares are owned.
Right.
By those two.
Oh, Brad Miner comes in with a reference. I can see clearly now the mics are gone.
There you go.
I can see all knuckleheads in my way. There we are.
People could hear clearly if our mics were gone.
Right. I'm most excited.
Faction in town that would love it if our mics were gone.
Now, folks, we would never make fun of our home here at Magic. These folks have been so good to us, but we literally have a countertop that is covered in, what's that stuff called?
Resin?
No. It's the stuff. It's the dude that takes the screen door and makes a boat. Flex Seal. True story. This countertop broke. It's not tacky.
It was.
It's
not bad.
It is black.
Nothing slides on it.
It's got a grip surface. It is. You could make a really serious.
You would not want this on the bottom of your slide foot when you go bowling.
No, or the French Open. It would not be good at the French Open.
Or curling. You would break arms, shoulders, clavicles.
This desktop is black on black Flex Seal. It is grippy.
My sweater is black and it looks gray next to this.
Right.
Thing.
Yeah.
It's a lighter shade of black. But.
Now's a good time to tell you about Allen's Wrecker Service.
They won't bring the Flex Seal.
578-6300.
They'll just pull you out of the water.
They've done it. It's a true story. They've got a 75-ton crane. They once pulled a Suburban out of I think the Guadalupe. It could have been the Coletto, but I think it was the Guadalupe. Pulled it right out of there.
Pulled many out of
Got a hold of it.
bodies of water.
Like, can you see Alan Miller out there in his scuba suit down there hooking? It might look like Tommy Lasorda in a Dodgers uniform,
With a mask.
right? With a snorkel. Alan's Record Service, folks, 578-6300. They are what we call the go-to toe-to. The VCS companies, as seen by the symbolic all-white banner. Everything is bright at VCS. That's actually a green screen behind us. We just don't have any data.
Don't have any graphics. To
It's
put on.
coming. It's
It's
really,
coming.
if you look, there's really a window there, but for you, it shows up as a white screen. The VCS companies are your home for all things to monitor. If you need to survey, if you need
Surveil.
surveil, if you need to watch what's going on, if you need security systems, if you need fire detection, fire
Protection.
suppression,
Fire protection.
they've got it all. It's interesting. They have it all at the VCS companies, all the way down to a flip phone. You want a flip phone with big buttons for grandpa to be able to call you? They got it for $9.99. Go see them. Tell them Wade and Carter sent you. They're actually just inside the loop.
On Kerr Boulevard.
Right off
Stop
Main
on by,
Street.
yeah. But I mean, convenient location, easy to get to, easy in and
Yep.
out, and great service, great folks, great family-owned business.
If you don't, I guarantee you they've got something you need.
Yeah.
Same way with Chesapeake Furniture Company. Bobby Leon and his family, 101 years now in downtown Victoria.
That was a pretty cool little commemorative coin. That Bobby
Very nice. I
gave us.
called and left Bobby a message yesterday or day before thanking him for that. I thought it was gorgeous. Also,
That'll be a collector's item when they're around 200 years from now.
yeah, when my great grandkids went. I'm also going to see if I can hit them up for a couple of Chesapeake Furniture Company
Bar stools.
bar stools to sit on here.
That'd be good.
It'd be nice to be able to sit down. Nobody would know we were sitting.
No.
Nobody can tell that you're just wearing boxers with hearts on them.
You know, I got feedback from last week when we were sitting, and people actually thought the show was a little more
It
conversation.
was more like a fireside
It was
chat.
more like a fireside chat.
Good morning, Kenneth Sexton. Keno just keeps raising the bar for people like us. Did you see where his lovely bride, Tracy, had an MRI on her shoulder? I don't know if it was an old football injury. I don't know what she did. Maybe it was when she was a steer dogger. I don't know. But
I think it was
Keno,
probably when she suplexed Keno.
well, they like that. Young couple in love. That's their business, Ash. But he bought her a big
I'm not judging.
spray of flowers and cooked her dinner. I saw it on Facebook. It's got to be true.
It's got to be true.
Yeah, there was a Whataburger bag in the back, but the dinner looked great.
Well, he took it out of the wrapper and put it on plates.
You know what it was?
No,
Enchilada casserole from
Nice.
Veracruz. Very
Nice.
nice.
very nice.
Yeah, you cannot ask. You cannot ask for too much at Veracruz. They've
No.
got it all. We ate there yesterday. Had the compuestas with
What? No call?
no.
They were out of
They were out of
call.
call by the time I got there.
Yeah.
Richard King says they give you a good deal when you ask. You're right. Go to Chesapeake Furniture. Ask them for a good deal. Tell them Wade and Carter sent you. They'll show you the door.
Veracruz, if you wanted to go, 576-6015. Give them a ring. Order up that enchilada casserole. I may do that for this weekend because I was craving one last weekend and had nothing.
That's how quick they acclimate, folks. It's like Darwinism. The Canadians start craving Mexican food. Greetings, folks in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. Hope y'all are doing well. Our friends in Newfoundland.
When the best tacos I ever had in Canada were at a place called Taco Time in the mall, and
There wasn't a Taco Bell up there.
no, not then. There is now. I remember when the first Taco Bell came to Calgary, that was like a big deal. We didn't line up down the street though, like they do here.
These people in Victoria, the bar is so low. They're so easy to, oh, look, it's another insert chain restaurant here.
Yeah.
Let's go for hours and sit in line. The only place worthy of that, Chick-fil-A.
My buddy's dad, Ted, my buddy at the time, childhood friend, Ted Schrader, his dad owned it.
Did y'all break up? You aren't friends anymore?
No, he moved to Vancouver.
Oh, well,
He
he's
did like fourth
he's a
grade or fifth
Canuck,
grade,
man. You
but-
can't. You don't have to like him anymore.
But I mean, how does,
Brad Meyer
When-
says he's craving the drowning enchiladas. They are popular.
when a guy with the last name Schroeder
Schroeder is the guy on
Yeah.
Peanuts.
is making the best tacos in town, you're in trouble.
I like it. Did you even want to talk about
Steve
Joe
Kidder's
Biden?
checking in. Mike
Good morning,
Rowell,
Steve Kidder.
Mike Roll.
Mike Rail.
Rail.
Yeah,
Thank you.
longtime mentor and friend. Great guy, great family. Tell me about Good Morning, Sheriff
Sure,
Louderback.
Louderback, good morning. He's going to be speaking February 10th, I believe, is the date. It's a lunch hour engagement with the
In Yoakum.
Republican Women of Yoakum. So I think at the community center, always a very informative and engaging presentation when Sheriff Louderback talks. So
now,
if you want to get
seriously,
there, seriously.
Can you picture the women of Yoakum? It just took me straight to Mayberry. The sheriff walks in, the women swoon. You know, what do you think that the average, I mean, I'm telling you, the Republican women of Yoakum, average age, 78.
Not from the picture I saw. They're
Well, that's because all the hotties come out and share their
when
enrollment
it's
goes
picture
up.
day.
When the sheriff walks in, they say, hey, the man in the big hat is buying, big iron on his hip. He walks in, they're like, whoa, country has come to town. Right? Marty Robbins, baby. That goes way back. Late 50s, I think.
Yeah. Mike Ness does an awesome cover of that.
Yeah.
Social Distortion singer.
Oh, yeah. Metallica does that too.
No, that's legit. Seriously. Love it.
Nirvana used to do Big Iron. James Kerr says Andy is taken, ladies.
Patrick Strauss says my wife's from Yoakum. She's not going to like this.
Right. See, she's she's blonde. She'll be there. She's like, oh, Sheriff, talk to me about being conservative.
It's like all the birds on Looney Tunes when Frank Sinatra bird came in.
They all fall over.
Frankie.
Yeah.
The Bing caricature would be all mad and jealous.
But the sheriff won't pull any. He won't pull any punches. He'll say, now listen quick, ladies. I got things to say here. Listen up. He'll straighten them out.
If he's trying to get people back to Victoria before lunch is over, that's going to be the quickest talk he's ever given.
Right. Well, he knows how to drive.
Hi, thanks for coming. We'll see you all next time.
He knows how to drive those back roads. 111 is a straight shot from Edna to Yoakum. He can be there. We wanted to talk about for a minute about things that are just hopefully interesting, as Ash would say. Joe Biden yesterday, he's been signing executive orders, none of which were his idea. Make a note. These were not his ideas. People put things on paper and said, sign here, Joe. True story. And Joe, when I look at the video, which is lagging.
I know, I had something in my eye.
Took your eyeball out.
Something flew in my eye.
I felt like I was with Sammy Davis Jr. Like, take your eyeball out, stick it in your mouth, and then put it back in your dome.
I could ruin somebody's breakfast right now with one of those stories.
So don't.
I'm going to. This one's worth telling. I worked in a warehouse for a few summer jobs.
Factory.
Nights. It wasn't a factory. It was a warehouse. I was on the packing line of orders, and we supplied drugstores across Western Canada with all their supplies, right?
Right. You were a government worker. That's how you infiltrated.
And we had a guy who had a patch.
Right.
And I was the new guy, and I sat down for lunch, and he came and sat at my table. We started talking. Just to give you the kind of idea this guy was. We didn't know this at the time, but he drove a hearse to work.
Sounds like a cool cat.
Yeah, it was a little weird. He had a cool Triumph motorcycle too, which I thought was kind of cool. Wannabe biker, patch over his eye. Later got arrested for desiccating graves, and I mean, just
allegedly.
No, he got charged and spent some time in the slammer, in the Crowbar Hotel, as we used to call him.
Back to the patch.
But anyway, so this guy was at work. And I opened my brown bag and I pulled my sandwich out. He sits down.
You didn't have your thermos full of weenies?
He's the only guy not eating. No, I didn't have my thermos full. I had graduated from that.
See, I listened to you.
And he's the only guy not eating. You could smoke back then in buildings. And
nice. That
was his lunch, 3 cigarettes. Because you couldn't smoke on the job. There were no allowed smoke breaks. You got your 15-minute coffee break.
Is this your first day there? Your first
This is my first day there.
Impressionable.
brand spanking new employee. And I'm sitting there eating my sandwich, and we all wear smocks, right? He lifts his patch up, and there's nothing there.
Just a hole into his dome.
And he takes his dirty smock and he wipes the socket out and puts the patch back down. And he's sitting straight across from me. And I'm trying to eat my lunch, and there's just an eye goop sitting on his smock. And that was it. Lunch was over.
Done.
I'm going back to work.
Pretty classic. That's nice. I'll be on the line if y'all need me.
Yep, I'll be there packing orders to send to Salmon Arm. Just
That's
you know where to find me.
Salmon Arm, another great
Yep.
Canadian town up by Red Deer.
There we go.
Moose Nuts, Alberta. How about Joe Biden yesterday, folks, signed an executive order, short an EO, that's what they call that, EO from the POTUS.
Yeah.
Signed an executive order banning the use of the phrase China virus. Now, it's merely symbolic because I can say China virus, and what can you do about it?
You're not a federal worker. Banned it amongst federal employees.
So, see, the problem I have with that, number one, there ought to be the same standard for everybody, whether you're a federal employee or not. And because the government can't tell me not to say China virus, they shouldn't be able to tell a federal employee not to say it. Now, I go a step further and say two things. One is the only reason to do this, the only reason is to suck up to China. That's the only reason. There's no other reason to say, hey, man, hey, Jack, come on, man. You can't use the phrase China virus while you're working in a federal building. Because number one, the reason they want to do it is to de-Trump the world. They don't want anybody to use any words such as profit, productivity, employment. Those are words that Trump used, and they're going to ban those words.
Uyghur genocide. They don't. That'll be next. We can mention that one.
So that's one thing, is they don't want you to use anything that Trump used. Number two, they symbolically want to suck up to China.
Yeah.
Hey, man. Hey, Chairman Z. Is it Z?
I think it's Z.
I just wanted you to know that I'm cleaning up Americans' perception of China. And the third thing is, when I turn around, Cheryl, your lovely bride, comes in and says free speech with a question mark, just to give you an idea of where we're at. Did the government have to put out an executive order to train you not to use the N-word? We don't use the N-word because you shouldn't use the N-word. I don't understand putting out an executive order. That's your tax dollars at work with that delirious, dementia bonehead sitting there signing a piece of paper that he had no idea was going to be put in front of him.
Was he walking through the halls of some federal building and everybody was sitting there yelling out China virus? I mean, seriously.
You don't need that.
This is just more proof that it's anything that Trump had a hand in, any successes that the former president had a hand in, he's going to undo them, and they've got to go, because Trump derangement syndrome starts at the top with Joe Biden and trickles down to a whole bunch of people, even in Canada.
Absolutely.
Because it's ridiculous.
I mean, tomorrow, don't be surprised if the United States sends, nowadays, why not $1 trillion to Spain, because back in the day, we referred to it as the Spanish flu. So don't be surprised if that happens. Nobody disputes any longer that the virus began in China. Why isn't it the China virus? Why is that even? I guess they're claiming it's racist.
Yeah. Chris Conner says, how long until Huawei phones are released in the U.S.? I'm betting on April. Probably, it's only a couple of months, probably.
May, June. See, and the problem with that is, and we've talked about that here. In fact, Ash enlightened me on that 3 or 4 years ago, that they have the ability to monitor everything. Like right here, it's sitting right here on the counter. They're monitoring what's on the screen over here.
Well, they hide apps in their phones. They've been known to do this.
Sure. Only my wife does that to me.
And the data is gathered and used by the Chinese Communist Party. Don't forget, Canada arrested one of their CFO as a spy
Yeah, and held her.
and
right?
held her.
Now,
But
Canadians
President
say,
Trump
yeah.
wanted that, right? Part of that.
Canadians say, we did that for y'all, made us look bad to China. Well, better you look
Yeah.
bad to China than us.
Yeah, so
Interesting.
all of a sudden, Justin Trudeau has a backbone. Oh, he stood up to President Biden when discussing the Keystone XL pipeline project that Biden canceled.
It's a major effect on Canada. And Trump would have told him, shut up, Justin. And
Trump
Biden
did tell him, shut up,
Yeah.
Justin, and he peed his pants, and Canada got mad because Trump bullied Justin Trudeau. I'm surprised it hasn't been spun that Trudeau elder shamed Joe Biden.
Calvin Scheer just sent us a note and said, did Biden know what he was signing this time, or did he ask?
No.
That's a true story. I've heard it over and over again. You can match the words with his lips as he says, I don't even know what I'm signing here. And you hear a female voice behind him say, just sign it anyway. And when the camera pans back, the only female within 20 feet of him is Kamala Harris. I don't understand why, when he's signing executive orders, she stands by so dutifully. Mike Pence was off doing things. Mike Pence didn't just stand around behind Trump. But I guess somebody has to give Joe directions on where to go.
40 executive orders already, folks. We're 8 days. No, when was the 20th, 21st? When was his? A week ago.
21st.
Last Wednesday, last Thursday. When was the inauguration?
I thought it was on Tuesday.
That's been so long, I don't even know. I mean, it seems like it's been so long.
It's always on Tuesday, right? I do not know
I
that.
don't remember now. No, because I don't know.
It seems like
Regardless.
forever, and yet nothing's happening. I don't know.
We're a week in, and he signed 40 executive orders.
And he keeps talking about that he's going to vaccine 300 people.
Yeah.
You had some skinny on that, I think. We'll talk about that after the break. Since 1926, folks, Atzenhofer. It's that simple. Victoria's dealership. Today, whether you need Chevy, Cadillac, Mazda, Mitsubishi, or a whole assemblage, maybe 100 over there, gently pre-owned vehicles. The Atzenhofer dealership and at Atzenhofer.com. See, they update it every day. You can go to Atzenhofer.com and look at simply the used, even certified vehicles.
I scroll it every day
just to see what's there. It helps us stay tuned. They had a Corvette. Wade and Carter sold it quick. Maybe not.
They've got a good deal on a late model Suburban. It's a 4x4.
Maybe somebody
check it
just
out.
wanted that vet, but I like to think that we helped sell it.
I'm sure we did.
I hope so. But they've got a paint and body shop that'll do everything you need on any make and model, and they also service all makes and models. So I can't think of it. They'll inspect your vehicle. It's Victoria's dealer right there on the Navarro Motor Mile, just down the road from High Prices. They're stacking them deep, selling them cheap. If you don't buy them today, they'll be there tomorrow, selling cars like candy bars.
You've got them all.
Every cliche Tommy Taylor has ever shared with me, and he did it tongue in cheek. Well, my granddad used to say, well, my great uncle used to say, and
he's keeping the good ones for himself.
he's got a few good ones that I know he uses. I did send him that picture the other day of that entire trailer full of Corvettes, and I got no response. That just shows you how close we are.
Yeah.
I got nothing back from Tommy T.
Well, it's because they bypassed his dealership.
Tell you who you can get immediate contact with, White Trash Services, 550-1826. Reach out to them today and have a trash-tastic day. Whether you're in Victoria County, the 5 contiguous counties, or
Rockport and Holiday Beach,
Reno, Nevada, Estes Park, Colorado, Honolulu, Hawaii.
Lake McQueeney, Texas,
You reach out, they'll send the white trash Wade and Carter barge over there.
Hilton Head, South Carolina.
Absolutely. It's beautiful there. The Outer Banks. They do the Outer Banks. 550-1826. They also do as local and as close as the 2-4 ranch that Ash lives on.
They do.
Razor IT Solutions, JP Hull and his team would like to invite you to come downtown, look at your website on their big screen in their conference room and see in real time the folks that are trying to hack into your website. It'll blow your mind, folks. If you go down there, I've seen it brought up. He'll bring up one of his Fortune 500 companies, all kinds of important people.
Yeah.
And he will
And
bring
he
it
always
up.
contrasts it with the Wade and Carter website.
Yeah, it's just like crickets. You just hear crickets in the background. That's about to change. But if you go down there and look at it, it'll say India, Russia, China, Russia, India. It's unbelievable, these people that have robots that are just throwing passwords at your website. It's kind of like trying to win the lottery. And then when they...
So if China sends over a computer virus, can we call that the China virus?
No, you cannot. By executive order, anything coming from China has to be called the Trump dilemma.
Okay.
If it came from China and there's a problem, it's Trump. Uncle Mutt's Barbecue has a lunch special today. Go by around 11-ish.
11-ish.
Brisket, ribs, sausage, turkey, chicken. Uncle Mutt's rice.
Did you miss one?
Brisket, ribs,
No, you got 'em
sausage,
all.
turkey, chicken.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
I thought you missed one for a minute.
Got all the food groups.
All 5. That's all you need.
Get by there. It's your Atkins Diet haven. If they had some bacon, that's all you'd never have to. You can't put enough combinations together. There's probably, honestly, a billion different combinations of things.
Well, you've got 5 meats and 20 some odd sides
Yeah.
to choose from every day. You'd never get
So it's,
the same meal twice if you didn't want it.
5 times or 1 times 20 times, and then the desserts and the pea salads, on and on and on. Tell the folks about Joe Biden being so adamant, so outspoken, so arrogant. I thought when I listened to the video, which is fine. I mean, he's the president. He's trying to get things done.
He's mad because it got pointed out. I don't know if you saw this the other day when somebody pointed out that, hey, Joe, your goal of 100 million vaccinations, 1 million a day.
Set him up, Joe.
I mean, we're almost there. He got mad at the reporter that asked him that.
Well, yeah, we had been
pointed
there
that out.
Under Trump with no plan in place. That's a Joe Biden campaign comment. That Donald Trump had no plan in place. We had averaged 912,000 vaccines a day for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, and his Joe Biden's office tried to massage those numbers because they were including the average from when we first started rolling out the vaccines, at 40 or 50,000 a day to bring those numbers down. And then actually I saw a number yesterday that the final days of President Trump's presidency, we were rolling out over 1 million a day. So for Joe Biden, they set a goal of 1 million. We're actually, I saw one, if you take the highest day under President Trump, it was actually a reduction of about 30% to get to 1 million a day. So that's not a good look if you're trying to stop the virus, which he says nobody can do anymore. Don't forget that little remark that, 10 months of campaigning that only he has the answer to the virus, and then he gets elected and he says there are no answers.
Do you notice how often Joe Biden pleads? He's a pleader. We can do this. We can do this. We've done this, people.
Come on, man. Give me a break.
We can do this. We're going to cap all those wells, man. We can do this with sustainable union jobs. By the way, Steve Kidder throws out the word of the day, conterminous.
Counties.
So I looked up conterminous.
Yeah. So then, well, you're looking that up. President Biden is going, we're going to do 200, 400, 600 million. So we can vaccinate 300 Americans.
300.
Let me repeat that. We're going to vaccinate 300 Americans.
He goes, you got that? I said that. He meant 300 million, but the zeros don't matter to the Democrats. Just add some zeros as you see fit. Conterminous means sharing a common boundary. Now, one thing about that is contiguous. I'm going to look that word up. I don't believe that all the counties share a common boundary. I mean, Jackson County's over there.
They do with us.
They do with us. So let's look at the word contiguous.
BJ Nelson says he's a pleader, not a leader. I don't even know that he's a pleader. I think he's almost more like a beggar. when he says things like, we can do this.
By the way,
He's already
same
done it.
same dictionary, contiguous says sharing a common boundary, comma,
It's a synonym.
touching.
Synonym Thursday, brought to you by Steve Kidder. Thank you.
Appreciate Steve Kidder.
Yep.
Yes, Dwayne Payne makes a very good point. He's lied since he took office at 29. It is unbelievable to me that in the modern era, now don't get me wrong, Joe Biden's been in D.C. for almost 50 years, but there is video of Joe Biden saying, I went to law school on a full scholarship. I finished in the top half of my class. I did this, I did that, and then they fact checked it, and he had like 2 jobs and did not. I mean, I would have rather him brag about having a job.
That was back when the Democrat Party actually had morals and cared about the character of who they run. Well, oops, probably a misstatement.
Right. But then he went on and said that he top half of his class, and he was like, honestly, 76th out of 84.
But they actually cared then, and they called him out on it, and he couldn't run for president, right? Then the next time he runs, he plagiarizes a speech from an English politician, thinking nobody's going to know that this came from across the pond,
And
because
I remember that.
Al Gore hadn't invented the internet yet.
Right.
So it was hard to fact check that sort of stuff. But somebody did. Some astute political science student.
And all he had to say was, a wise man in Europe once said,
Yeah.
that's all he had to do is give credit that it wasn't his original idea.
But he couldn't do
I
that.
think the these and thous should have thrown him off.
Should have.
Thouest musteth. It's funny when you look back that it was a big deal in this country when Jimmy Carter admitted, oh, how bold of you, Jimmy, to admit, yes, I have lusted in my heart. I have looked at other women besides Rosalind. No kidding, Jimmy. Come on, man. And that was a big deal. It was a big deal that Senator at the time, Gary Hart, running for office, it was a big deal to the Democrats. Notice that these are all Democrats. That he got photographed with a woman sitting on his lap on a boat. That was a big deal. When Bill Clinton partied in the Oval Office, it was not a big deal. It was just politics.
Yeah, at that point, it wasn't a big deal.
It just wasn't
Right.
a big deal. Why is that a big deal? You know, I mean, if
But then it became a big deal when Donald Trump had affairs.
before he was in office, you know, I mean, I tell you what, folks, no matter which side of the political spectrum you're on, our country is a political nightmare driven by people who only care about getting reelected with no real desire to do anything to help the country.
No, your executive orders are costing thousands of Americans jobs at the worst possible time, and you're environmental czar. There's that word again. I don't know why. That's a word that should be outlawed.
Yeah.
For all of the pain and suffering that czars have caused all over Russia.
Yeah. Your mother country.
Why aren't we executive ordering and banning the use of the word czar?
Yeah.
Certainly caused a lot more harm than China virus to a whole lot more people.
My Aunt Betty pointed out that it's just good to know that Joe Biden in there is the most religious president we've had in a long time. I thought that was interesting. They asked that, I don't remember her name. She's the redhead. I call her Plain and Tall, the redhead spokesperson for Joe Biden.
Jen Psaki?
Pat.
Psaki?
I'm just going to call her Pat. Pat. I found it interesting that Pat, when asked about Joe Biden's stance on reversing some of the things that President Trump had done to make abortions less easy to get, I guess is the right way to say that. She said, well, just be aware that Joe Biden is an extremely religious and faithful Catholic, and in fact, Joe Biden went to church this morning before he went to work. So what is that going to mean? Because you know he's going to reverse.
The mafia went to church every weekend.
Right. Pat. Thanks, Pat.
Biggest drug dealers in my hood went to church every Sunday.
Right.
I mean,
That's a weak reference to a Saturday Night Live skit. I don't know if y'all remember that or not.
I've tried to watch some of those. They're just not as engaging.
Right.
It's hard to. The lack of tough questions being asked, and then when somebody does ask one, and Joe Biden gets mad
Come on,
at
Jack.
the question.
Give me a break. I've been here a week.
And the media doesn't say anything to about Biden's reaction and the way he treated that person.
Yeah.
Yet Donald Trump was chastised for similar exchanges with reporters who were actually bullying him.
And I would go so far as to say maybe Donald Trump should have taken the high road. Maybe Donald Trump should have been more presidential. But the fact that Joe Biden reacts in the same way and gets a pass is, I don't have a problem with the media hammering Donald Trump and saying that he's a bully. But when Joe Biden is a bully, shouldn't what's good for the goose be good for the gander? You don't turn around and say,
because as you've taught me, the left is as easily identifiable by
hypocrisy.
Yeah.
It's the hypocrisy that makes it work.
Yeah. And then you've got, speaking of work, because there is no jobs, but then you've got John Kerry, which is where I was going with this point.
This is crazy.
Just telling, those oil field workers, those pipeline workers are out of jobs. They can get jobs building solar panels.
That's almost sarcastic. I mean, that's almost like, I realize that you're a guy that builds pipeline for a living. You're a welder. You've got a $100,000 welding rig. You
go get a $15
go get
an hour
job,
line job at the factory.
Yeah, just go make solar panels. There you go. I did just turn on the brother man's mic. It's hot. Do you want to give him like a little intro, like a little?
Well, probably let's get our last break out of the way, and then
when we have a party this good, we ought to have the Gray Barn come in and decorate. It should be decorated. In fact, maybe we can get Cheryl to decorate this room.
I bet you she could. I know she could.
It needs some love. 920-6803. We need a disco ball right here, a mirror ball.
We got the music.
Right? We need a mirror ball. And because the boys are back in town. We hear that after this show. But if you reach out to Cheryl at 920-6803.
You got a drab room. She's got an eye for interior decorating.
Yep.
Too. She can help you with that.
My Aunt Betty says, I'm wondering, things have gone south so fast. I'm wondering if
I've got an observation on that after the break that I want to bring up real quick, and then we'll get to the brother man, because that's interesting that she asked that question.
And Kelly Fromey says it's Kerry's elitism. I wonder, as if he knows anything about oil field careers. No, you got to admit.
He only knows the only career he's had is marrying Rich.
Yeah. He married Rich twice. Hines. That's a good one, right?
Yeah.
I would have
better than the first one.
Maybe date Miss Exxon. Went Services. You want those solar panels? After John Kerry's displaced oil workers take those $15 an hour jobs making your solar panels. Went Services will put them on the roof. If you've got a business, tell you who else could benefit from this? A church. Of course, churches don't have taxes.
Power bills.
But they will. They will under the Bidens. I think that Went Services is onto something on the commercial level where you can put these panels on your roof. The government will basically pay you to do it because the government's subsidizing this. As dumb as it sounds, it's free money. And then you turn around and get your tax write-offs and you get your rebates, and it pays for itself in 3 years. And then you've got free power for years and years to come on your commercial building. And then, of course, concrete coatings, USA Concrete Coatings. I called Charlie Garcia the other day. He told me, I said, Charlie, how was your day? He said, I collected aluminum cans all day, made $12.
There you go.
He said, but I'm working, and I'm proud to be working. If you've got a pool deck, a patio, a front porch, a sidewalk, a room, especially a garage, that's the key. They'll come out, fill in the cracks, clean up the surfaces, put down an epoxy, polyurethane coating.
It ain't epoxy.
Tougher than epoxy, won't fade, won't crack.
Better than Flex Seal.
Won't stick to your tires. Beautiful.
He picked up those cans while redoing the pool around Steve Kidder's backyard.
Right? Old Milwaukee's best. They're laying out there by the caseload.
Give Charlie Garcia a call, 578-HOME. And
White Trash Services put a roll-off dumpster in there to catch Kidder's cans.
Scott Tomko says he's heard the Plumbers Pipe Fitters Union backed Biden. Now they're reaping their rewards. I'm sure they're having remorse.
Sure.
You know, interestingly enough, the executive of the unions endorsed Joe Biden. A lot of the local chapters in South Dakota, North Dakota, Wyoming, where the Nebraska, where the Keystone XL goes through, they were not in favor of that endorsement, but they didn't care about those who might be affected most, as is typical. And I think they were United Auto Workers union as well that was in a similar situation. But your Aunt Betty says that she's wondering if those who have voted for Biden have started to second guess themselves on Twitter. And it started after Donald Trump's election. There was the walkaway campaign from the Democrat Party. There's been a whole bunch of people on Twitter. I'm already having buyer's remorse. I voted for Biden and this is embarrassing. I voted for Biden and I'm afraid for what the next 4 years will bring. I mean, there's whole Twitter feeds of this stuff. So yeah, it's happening.
Yeah, it's I don't know. It's okay to have buyer's remorse, and we're going to support the office of the presidency. I just hope that Biden doesn't focus the first year on just getting rid of everything Trump did.
Well, that's all he's done so far. Somebody asked me, you weren't this hard on Trump. I don't, because I believe in a lot of things Trump was doing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you're against Israel, if you're against, putting our workers to work, if you're against higher profits, a booming stock market, record after record after record in the stock market, if you're against 401ks going through the roof and unemployment going through the floor across every sector, every race, every genders that don't even exist. He was big among transgender, homosexual pedophiles. He was huge. Trump, they all loved him. Now, and that was just Joe Biden. It was a small group. But now you've got, we've all got to be unified. So we're going to separate everybody. They're going to put us in reprogramming camps. You'll tune in one day. Ash and I will be gone. They will have come and gotten us and taken us to reprogram us.
Well,
I'll be real quick to reprogram too. Biden.
You get rid of enough jobs and force people to either be employed by the government or subside on welfare. The only answer to that problem is more welfare. It's how they're doing this slowly, but it's starting to happen.
Caleb Shaw makes a beautiful point. I 100% agree. He says, we will be told that Joe Biden is the most loved and most approved president in history.
I'm convinced this isn't a Joe Biden presidency. This is Barack Obama's third
2.0.
term.
Yeah, Barack 2.0. Look, we only get so much time with the brother, man. Look, and he's over there chomping at the bit.
He's ready, and
he's got,
And now that we're pretty much back to normal, I mean, this is only
fairly.
This is only this is only right to finally bring him in the way he deserves to be brought in.
Do it. Oh, spanning the globe, bringing you the best of the best.
We'll try.
The brother man, unparalleled in American history.
I got that down.
The brother man.
Thank you, guys. Good to be with y'all. I do have some stuff from all of us right here for y'all too.
The little buddies.
Little buddies too. Well, I got some on hockey. I actually got some on hockey.
Wow.
I missed this the other day. Wayne Gretzky turned 60. Happy late belated birthday to the great one.
Don't be stealing the brother man's.
All right,
thunder.
I can tell you, we got two quick events. Chamber banquet tonight. Spring Creek. T. Michael O'Connor, guest speaker.
Fantastic. Good for him.
That's Marshall T. Michael O'Connor.
United States Marshal. U.S. Marshal. I like it.
Don't you sell him short.
So do you do it now? Is it like O'Connor, Texas Ranger? That's not right. That's not. No, there's a that U.S.
They've
Marshal.
rebooted Walker.
He's a marshal now?
No, I think
it's his son or something.
I don't know exactly. There's a reboot of
No,
the
but the
series.
U.S. Marshal was Tommy Lee Jones in the
He did a couple of them.
in the Fugitive.
Yes, he was, and he had his own deal too. He reprised that role twice. Okay, the other one is the BIHD telethon, BIHD Foundation, Educational Foundation telethon, Sunday night, 6 to 8. Channel 25.
Are you hosting that?
Jerry Lewis is going to be there?
Yeah. Tune in, right,
I love the
Ash?
speakers. They have the Chelsea
Like
Live.
Jerry.
I love that, man.
Remember, you know what was funny when I was a
We had the
kid?
Telephone for 30 years.
Did you used to, yes. Do you remember though watching that Jerry Lewis used to sing, and Jerry Lewis sings about like me? I couldn't believe that he would sing that. He was a pretty good little soft shoe dancer.
The show you didn't like. When he
No,
started,
because
you didn't
oh
like.
yeah. No. He did great things. They raised so much money.
Because it was always over Labor Day, and back then we only had 3 channels, and all 3 channels there at the telethon. So that if you wanted to watch TV, that's all you were
It
watching.
was the best at slapstick.
Football season was over.
Yeah.
He
College
was,
football hadn't kicked off
he
yet.
was at his funniest. Something I remind Ash of all the time.
This telethon for BIC Educational Foundation, I'm one of the speakers. They have a Chelsea Live hosting it, but we're doing it,
Fantastic.
helping raise money. Right there.
I tell Ash all the time, Brother G, that Martin and Lewis were never as good apart as they were together.
They were better together.
Greenberg and Golick were never as good apart.
Yeah, Dino was all right.
All right, let's go for it, boys. Get to you last. Okay, petition to change the Atlanta Braves nickname. You heard that, right? They are running a petition through Atlanta Braves to change the name to the Atlanta Hammers in honor of
Hammer and Hank.
Hammer and Hank.
I could get behind that.
I could get behind that.
I like that. That's
Everybody
good.
wears number 44.
All right, so hey, good one there. Texas Longhorn running back Keontae Ingram. You heard about that?
Yes, sir.
USC. He's going to
My
USC.
auto draft stopped. They're no longer taking change out of my account for
He
Keontae.
transferred, yeah. We lost a couple of them to USC. He wanted to go away with his buddy. Opens the door for who? Jonathan Brooks.
Jonathan Brooks will also be in the backfield with Bijan Robinson, who had a really nice season.
Jonathan Brooks.
I liked Keontae. I hurt for a kid who, that Keontae Ingram was a great running back, or he wouldn't be playing D1 football. He wouldn't be at Texas. But the kid had that drop of a pass against LSU,
It hurt me.
and he had the fumble that should not have been a fumble against TCU.
It killed me right there.
It ruined him.
We hope he comes back strong. All right, third quick hit. You got 4. Third quick hit. San Antonio Mayor says there will be an NFL team in San Antonio in the next 10 years. He said that 2018 and reiterated it just this week. San Antonio to have an NFL team within 10 years.
That means
Where are they
he's
going to? You know what?
they're
It's
going to
coming
start for a
next
stadium.
They're
gonna-
going to work on the stadium. He said, we're working on it.
If
now."
you build it, they will come. But
because
San
the
Antonio-
Alamo Dome that seats 56,000 is
It's
not
not
good enough anymore.
and it's not set up for pro sports. If you build it,
It
they
was
will
when they
come.
built it because that's what they thought, right? They
Right,
were
but they've
gonna
got
build
all
that.
those. You got to have all those suites, and you've got to build,
That's
and
not built for that.
and you've got to build it so that you get in the rotation for the Super Bowl with New Orleans, and
Yes,
and
and he
you know,
said they're working on it now. He said within 10 years they'll be having an NFL team.
there you
And
go.
I like it. Hey, that'd be great, wouldn't it? Super.
It
All
would
right,
be
we're going to
great.
the last one. NHL Power Rankings. Let's see how he does, brother.
He
Top
knows.
5. All right, Ash. Top 5. Number 1. Who do you think it is?
Tampa Bay.
They're number 2. That's close. Number 1. Who else would be? Who? You got to know this one.
The Washington Capitals.
We love the city. We love the city.
Dallas? No.
Vegas.
Vegas.
The
Yeah.
Golden Knights. Vegas is the number 1 power rated team. NHL. Tampa Bay number 2. All right, throw it out. What do you think the other 3 would be?
Washington Capitals got to be up there.
They're close.
But the Rangers.
No, the Rangers are
What
dead.
about the
Maple Leafs.
Calgary
Flames are down.
Flames?
The Maple Leafs in the top 5?
5.
No.
They're 5.
Oh, come on.
The Avalanche. Number 4.
What about the
Yeah,
Dallas
Colorado's
Stars?
pretty sharp.
Dallas Stars.
Didn't make it.
No. Stars have only played like 2 games because of
And
COVID.
What is he? A Canadian.
Montreal Canadiens, they've
I'm
run
just
off
showing
their
off that I
pretty
actually knew some
You
teams.
did. You did good.
What's
Well,
Las
I
Vegas'
like
team?
it. Vegas,
the Golden Knights,
And what's Nashville's team?
the Predators.
Predators, yeah.
They're falling off.
Tampa Bay-
Calgary and the Habs played tonight, so we'll see.
The Habs.
Vegas,
Montreal.
1, Tampa Bay 2, Montreal 3, Colorado 4, Toronto 5. Top 5.
So you call the Montreal Canadiens the Habs like they're half Canadian?
Habs.
Yeah.
What's a Hab?
Yeah.
It's French. Le Habitant de Canadien.
Oh,
Basically
right. We
Canadians.
live there. We're the
We
habitants.
learned with them too, don't we, Brett? We
Yes,
learned.
sir.
We
Well,
learned. We learned.
A lot of the stuff that he learned back in the old Soviet bloc that he
It
brings
was
over.
all to assimilate.
Right.
All right.
Right. Say that word where they have it. They have a lot of furniture and what else at Chestnut?
Accoutrement.
Oh, so
There
good.
you go.
Who
Four
knew?
quick hits.
Brother man, we appreciate
Yes,
you.
sir. Thank you.
We
Texans got a new head coach.
Who?
The
Who'd
Texans.
they get?
They got the DC from the Ravens, right?
Yeah,
Or
just
assistant
announced
coach from
it
the
this
Ravens.
morning.
Can't remember the name, but
I
I
heard this
saw
morning.
that this morning.
From the Ravens. Henry didn't get it. I thought he might get it because that's who they were pushing. The quarterback was pushing.
You know what I thought was interesting, brother man, is when Eric Bieniemy, when his name was thrown out, he was a great player,
Oh, Colorado.
was a great player in the NFL as well,
San Diego, right?
and obviously has an unbelievable grasp
Yes,
of
sir.
the offense.
That's what they say.
It is odd and oddly unfair to me that when his name, this guy is an offensive coordinator
Yeah.
at the championship level,
Correct.
and when his name comes up for a head coaching opportunity, people pointed out some things that happened in his past. And I'm like, I don't even remember what they were. I mean, I'm saying if it were drugs or if it were domestic violence, whatever it was, if it didn't keep him from being an offensive coordinator, in my opinion, it shouldn't keep him from being a head coach.
Right.
It's not
You got
like
a point, Brett.
I just am like, I don't understand. And there is no doubt in my mind that among the higher ups, the elites that own these NFL teams, that there is some systemic racism. You've got Coach Tomlin at Pittsburgh, and he's been there forever. And I mean, to be honest, I forget that he's black. I do, because he's been there forever. But it does seem like these
Steelers have
coaches-
only had what, 4 coaches
Chuck Knox
in the last 50 years.
Bill Cowher.
And
And if you work your way back, well, Chris Conrad says he might just interview poorly. I agree, but the man's got a body of work that says, hey, I'm the guy.
Or he's got a Super Bowl coming up, but he didn't want the distraction.
Right.
You know, maybe he's waiting. Maybe after the Super Bowl. I mean, his vacancies aren't going anywhere.
And it's not like he's not broke. I mean, he's not working for nothing, but it's not like getting he's in a professional routine where he travels, he's with the head coach all the time. It's not like, oh, well, if you make him the head coach, these ugly things are going to resurface. That's folly.
Or here's something else. Maybe, I mean, you know, a lot of good coaches are great coordinators. They don't make good head coaches.
Charlie Strong.
But maybe
Strong.
Eric's going, you know what? I've got 1 ring. I'm on the verge of a second. I make pretty good money. Kansas City's a pretty nice city to live in. Anywhere I go, that team's going to suck
Yeah, that's true.
because no good team's looking for a new head coach.
Right.
You know, maybe.
Million is a good assistant.
Oh, yeah.
You
It's
know,
a great living in
and,
Kansas
yeah, and,
City.
yeah, I mean, in Kansas City's a nice
You
city.
get all 4 seasons in KC. It's nice there.
I'm sure, you know, Chris Conrad points his time will come. I'm sure about that. But
I think
at the same time, he's going, geez, I got a pretty good, Andy Reid's pretty good head coach. I'm running an offense that I want to run. I got a great young quarterback. Why would I go to some place that has an iffy quarterback situation, has an aging defensive line, and doesn't have much else in the cupboard?
Let's see what Deshaun Watson does after this now. We'll find
So,
out. Stay
anyway.
tuned. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, brother.
Brother man, what was the golfer's name that they called the Walrus?
Yeah.
Craig Stadler.
See, that's actually Andy Reid. Nobody knows that.
Well, you can't resurface that nickname.
Andy Reid, no, that is him. Craig
Craig
Stadler
Stadler.
changed his name and started coaching
He
football.
did.
There we
That's
go.
perfect.
That's who he is. Hey, folks, we love you. We're going to get out of here. As always, we're blessed and proud to have the Brother Man join us on Thursdays.
Thank you, boys.
Stay tuned because he and the Hall of Famer Ralph Salazar are coming on here to play. They don't just play your Tejano favorites. They play a lot of that. But they play some old rock and roll. They play all kinds of stuff. I'm going to ask Ralph today to play a little Mustang Sally.
Yeah.
There
Little
you go.
Wilson Pickett.
He'll do it.
All right, you guys have a great day. We love you. We'll talk to you.
Bye, folks.
Manana.
Hit the button quickly.
Yeah, you did.